We've got a jam-packed show today, so appreciate all of you tuning in for the latest Browns news and rumors. We're going to go all the way from Baker to an ESPN mock draft, and then we'll wrap it up with some kicker talk. We'll give some special teams some love as the Browns made a move on that front. But first, the latest on the Baker Mayfield trade front, because it got cold for a little bit, right? We hadn't heard much out of Berea. We haven't heard much smoke signals about what the latest is, but then Jeremy Fowler hops on Sportscenter this morning and provides a little bit more new information. So JPA Football, which interesting Twitter account, but they tweet out some good stuff here and there, tweeting out that update. Teams are waiting for the Browns to pay part of Baker Mayfield's salary in a trade or just to outright release him, says Jeremy Fowler. So that's what he said on SportsCenter. And I wouldn't say this is like groundbreaking new information, but it does at least confirm what we've all been thinking for a little bit. Baker's got a contract of $18.8 million. Usually contracts are a little funny and weird, but that's the beauty of rookie contracts. They're pretty straightforward. He's going to be paid $18.8 million if he's on the Browns. If he gets traded, the Browns could pay some of that. So the Browns could tell the Carolina Panthers, we'll pay half of that money. So we'll pay $9 million, and you give us a better pick in exchange for us paying half of that salary. Otherwise, the Panthers will go, hey, we'll give you a 6th-round pick for Baker because we got to take on nearly $20 million in contract, and we have Sam Darnold, who has a similar cap hit just south of Baker's 18.8 because he was only picked, 3 picks later by the Jets. So that's how that front now, that's how that side of things works when it comes to the financial side of Baker's contract. I also wonder if the Browns are waiting for the NFL draft. We were just talking about the Panthers. What if the Browns are sitting there thinking, you know what? We've got some offers of a 6th-round pick. We're going to hold out. We're going to gamble a little bit here. And what I want to do is wait, see if the Panthers don't get their guy at 6. We'll just go with the Panthers for an example. Or the Falcons at 8. What if those two teams are banking on drafting a QB and Pickett or Willis is picked before them? And all of a sudden they go, well, we really don't want to roll with Matt Corral or Sam Howell. So you know what? We will trade for Baker Mayfield because that's the next best option. I wonder if that's at least an option Andrew Berry is considering right now. So speaking of the NFL draft, I want you guys to weigh in early on the show. Will Baker be traded before the draft? We'll talk more about the draft in a second. We'll look at Todd McShay's latest ESPN mock draft. But let me know. Y for yes or N for no. Ultimately, the Browns have no leverage here. It's a little bit like how the Browns fleeced the Cowboys for Amari Cooper. Producer Jeff, Cowboys fan, did you like giving up an Amari? No, shaking his head, for a 5th-round pick. That's the path we've gone down here when everyone knows it's the worst-kept secret that Baker Mayfield's done in Cleveland. It's not a secret. It's a fact at this point. So no team's going to come up and give him a 2nd-round pick like they would have maybe a couple weeks, months ago, because they got to just wait and go, eventually they have to release him. They cannot pay Baker $18 million to be the backup quarterback. That is asinine. So they will just wait, and that comes at a price, comes at a risk. The Browns didn't want to wait for Amari Cooper to be released, so they traded him for a 5th-round pick. Cost them a little bit of change right there, some draft capital, but they didn't want Cooper to hit the open market and have his choice of teams. Maybe a team will get desperate like that and go, we don't want to even risk Baker hitting the open market if we don't get our guy in the draft, or our plans aren't shaping out like they thought they would be. Let's just go get him right now. But ultimately, the Browns, no leverage. So here are some trade destinations for Baker. List hasn't changed much. I think the Seahawks makes the most sense. Baker Mayfield is an upgrade from Drew Lock. In fact, Baker Mayfield's an upgrade from Drew Lock, from Sam Darnold, from Marcus Mariota, probably Jared Goff too. Not Tom Brady, but maybe the Bucs want to think a couple steps ahead here. The only reason why Baker Mayfield isn't on one of these teams right now is it's not his play, it's the price tag. It's the fact that you got to pay $18 million to get him. And we, as an NFL and as a football community, saw the Panthers get burned on that last year. Right? Remember? They traded a 2nd-round pick for Sam Darnold and more, and he sucked. And they got to pay him now. Teams maybe, not wanting to follow those same footsteps that the Panthers went down. So I don't think it's Baker's poor play. Sure, what he did last season and having shoulder surgery, not helping. That's a factor. But I think ultimately it's the price, not the guy here. All right, settle down here. Let's move on to the latest Todd McShay NFL mock draft. I know it's not super exciting now because the Browns don't have that 13th overall pick. But hey, it's mock draft season, okay? What's not to love here? So here who was on the board at number 44 when Todd McShay was doing his mock draft. I'll show you his pick in a moment, but here are the big names, and maybe you guys can kind of make your own mock draft here. All right, these are the big, kahunas out there. Here's who I would have gone with, but I'll show you who mock draft, who McShay went with in just a second. But if you want me to do a 7-round mock draft, go ahead and like today's video. Put some thumbs up icons in the world, and if want some free draft content coming your way, pretty simple stuff. Thumbs up button. Ultimately, McShay went with Travis Jones, and to a lot of you, that's the pick you want to see. It helps out at that defensive tackle position, a huge need, because right now it is going to be the fourth-year guy from Jacksonville, Brian, right? The former first-round pick, and Elliott? Togiai, it's not pretty, guys. It isn't. Now, here's the thing with Travis Jones. Doesn't offer much pass rush. I know he had 4.5 sacks, but look, he's sacking a quarterback from Holy Cross right there. He's not going to be able to go up against these kind of guys in the NFL. He is going to be a nose tackle who will fill the gap, who will take the center and a guard and captivate them, right? Take that hole, take that gap, and free up a linebacker to go into the backfield and sack the quarterback. That's the kind of player Travis Jones is. Todd McShay here, his thoughts on the pick from his article saying, Cleveland sacrificed significant draft capital to land quarterback Deshaun Watson, but it still has 3 day 2 selections. Edge rush, wide receiver, and defensive tackle will likely be top targets. Jones can occupy double teams against the run up the middle, and while he has some consistency issues, the talent is there. Grade the pick for me. Travis Jones, UConn, hand up. I intentionally didn't watch UConn football last year because they sucked. But Travis Jones, not so bad. Let me know A, B, C, D, or F on the Travis Jones to the Browns pick. Personally, I'll give it a B+. I don't think it's an A-worthy pick. If I do a 7-round mock draft later this week, we can explore maybe a little more exciting picks in round 2. But ultimately, there was no Jordan Davis. He's going to go in round 1. Devontae Wyatt, the other Georgia guy, may sneak into round 2. That would be an A pick here. Travis Jones, solid B+ here. I think the next 3 weeks, though, going into the NFL draft, will tell us a lot more about what the Browns are going to do in the draft. Because let's say they bring back either Clowney or Fuller, or they sign, Clowney or Landry, or they sign Will Fuller. Well, if they get a wide receiver in free agency, they're probably not going to draft one in the second round. And vice versa. They get an edge rusher, probably not going to draft one. Same for defensive tackle, like Larry Ogunjobi, who failed his physical, but maybe you can get him for cheaper now because he's not 100%. I think before the draft, whatever moves are made, you can just kind of do the opposite then in the draft. Sign a wide receiver, draft defense, and vice versa. All right, I want to tell you guys about our awesome sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head on over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Browns125. You get a 125% deposit bonus. So if you put 100 bones in, now you got 225 to play with. But the reason I'm telling you guys all this is I honestly need some help here. Masters right around the corner. Tiger Woods to win the Masters, and it sounds like he's playing as of right now, plus 5,000. I'm not going to put, I'll put $5 on that. But can someone please tell me who to bet on in the Masters? Whatever name is the most popular in the comment section, that's what I'm going to roll with. I personally want to do Spieth, but he's been so bad lately. And I like golf, but I like golf 4 times a year, like during the during the majors. That's about it. I don't keep up with it outside of that. But if you do, please give me some gambling advice so I can make smart picks at BetUS, and you can too. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Browns125. Wrapping up the show here with some free agency news. The Browns signed a punter the other day, Corey Bojorquez, out of from Green Bay, and now they bring back one of their own, Chase McLaughlin. We'll look at his stats. We'll break this down here. So Chase McLaughlin last season for the Cleveland Browns, 15 for 21. Remember, he got hot to start, and then he really cooled off down the stretch. 71.4%, but he didn't kick all that much, so it's not a fair reading, I would say. Along at 57. I mean, he was like the first couple of weeks, it's like, all right, see ya, Parkey. Like, this is the guy. And then it was maybe we should start looking at other options down towards the end of the season. So if you never want to miss a free agent signing, make sure you are subscribed to the channel because even the kicker makes the show. I honestly like kickers, and I'll tell you why more in a second. But hit that big red button and join the channel for more Browns news and rumors content all year long. Here's the sad news. I don't think there's going to be the punter or kicker pick that we're all low-key hoping for. I mean, Matt Araiza, the punter out of San Diego State, I want him bad. But after you can't make 2 punter moves in an offseason. That's just too much overkill. And then there were some other kickers. I like Dicker the kicker from Texas because of his name. Okay, producer Jeff, Texas fan and Cowboys, shaking his head. But, I mean, come on. Texas produces good kickers. Browns know this. Ravens know this. And then as for Cade York on LSU, I would like to see a pick, but this probably signals they're not going to do that in the draft anymore, which is probably a smart thing, right? You can attack bigger needs than punter and kicker, like defensive tackle, edge rusher, wide receiver. When you only have 7 picks in the draft, you can't spend 2 of those picks on special teams, so that's that. All right, that's going to do it for us here on today's show. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, @MatthewPeterson. Never miss a single Browns news and rumor story. That way you're in the know all year long. And we'll catch up with you later with the latest Browns news and rumors.